Hey, Smart Authors, welcome back to another episode of the Smart Author Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Lauren Tickner of Scale Systems, and we spoke about everything scaling with organic. And you're going to get a lot out of this episode if you have been wondering how you can leverage organic more for your business to generate leads and sales. And we just had a really good chat on what she's doing from an organic perspective, but then more so what she's been testing out with her self-liquidating funnels and advertising, which is obviously where we shine and have a lot of fun. So we alluded to the fact that she's actually launching a book in January, or going to be working on her book in January, and what that leverage is going to bring to her business and her scaling as well. And it's just all in all a fantastic conversation that I think you're going to get a ton out of. So hope you enjoy, and I can't wait to hear what you think. Welcome to the show, Lauren.
Hello, thank you for having me. Should I say g'day, mate? That's what you say, right?
G'day. Well, you're almost indoctrinated considering you're like almost on the same time zone, right?
Basically, yeah. I should say konnichiwa. There we go.
Konnichiwa. Ohayou gozaimasu.
Finally, I know what that means.
Yeah. I learned Japanese a little bit when I was like 6 in year 1 and 2. And that's pretty much all I retained. So
that's pretty cool that they taught you that in school, was it?
Yeah, primary school.
Wow. Okay, Australia leading the way over there. All right, there we
go. So, Lauren, I think it was 2017 we were actually introduced. And I don't know if you remember this because I'm going to surprise you here potentially, but it was back when you were doing fitness. Do you remember the sales funnel kid, Noah Lenz?
Oh, yeah.
So he connected us on WhatsApp because he's like, Chris Benetti's a funnel guy. Like, you should go talk to him and get your funnel built with him. And so we actually have been connected since 2017 when you were back in that era.
Wait, so did we get on a call or something? I don't remember that. That's actually crazy.
Yep. Yeah, we got on a call. It was when I was doing a lot of work for like Inner Circle, like Russell Brunson Inner Circle people. And I was working with Rachel Peterson and Marley Jackson, Steve Larson and ClickFunnels and whatnot. And yeah, I was just like a little bit in that crowd. And obviously Noah was like a 13-year-old who was just like following all the influential funnel people in the space. And I guess I was one of them.
That's hilarious. Okay, well, I'm sorry that you didn't close me back then, but okay, we're here now. It's all good. It's all good. That's so funny. That's crazy. Okay, I remember speaking to him about funnels, but yeah, like I don't remember that. Wild.
Yeah, there you go. That's funny. So since then, you've started Scale Systems, and you're like the absolute god of organic marketing today.
Well, I don't know if that's the right word.
No, but seriously, there's like two people. Whenever I'm like, someone says, "Hey, I want to get better at organic marketing," I'm like, "Cool." There's two people you should go look at in terms of how they do their posting and the type of content they post. And it's pretty much James Kemp, because I like his like methodological thinking of how he posts stuff. And then there's Lauren Tickner, and I'm like, go check out how Lauren does stuff because it's awesome, and you could easily take notes. And then furthermore, like, you actually train people on this kind of stuff as well.
Well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, it's really interesting because when I was like beginning the game, right, like I didn't do it with any intentionality behind it. That's probably why when we connected and we were talking about funnels back in like 2017, I was like, what is a funnel? I couldn't really wrap my head around it because I used to just post content and then people would buy. That was just it. I didn't have to think about it, because when you build a really strong personal brand, people just buy stuff from you. And so then only when I made the shift from being in the fitness space to then, okay, let's actually like help other people grow their brand and everything, I realized, okay, it actually takes some time to work up to being able to post and get clients straight away. And so then I had to really like learn the psychology behind marketing and funnels and everything, which obviously is now like going back, probably around 2018 was when I really stepped into the marketing side of things. And so it's interesting, but I think that like there's so many people who produce really, really great content, but it doesn't get the results that they would like for it to get to, just because they miss a couple of like very important pieces that will ensure that people actually listen to the value that they're sharing. And so that's ultimately what I want to be able to try and help people do, is take the knowledge they have and formulate it in a way that it will actually get reach on organic social media. And it's pretty fun.
So what are the pieces that they typically miss?
Yeah, well, the first one is people share value, just straightforward like value on social, right? And so that's what we're told to do, is share more value, share education, share tips, strategies that are going to help people. And that works really well, like if you already have an audience. And so what I notice a lot of coaches and consultants, agency owners especially, doing is like speaking with the like misconception that everybody should already know why to listen to them. And so this is like, especially with coaches, like this is the killer for them, I'd say, because like they'll get on a video and they'll say like, here's why you need to blah, blah, blah. But it's like, as people see that post in their feed for the first time, like let's say they see an Instagram reel or a TikTok video or even on LinkedIn, people don't know why to listen to you about that topic if you're speaking like to try and grow your audience, right? So one simple thing that like makes the world of a difference is just use an authority intro at the top of your post, which means say, I've helped 500 people write and launch their book, or I've helped 10 books sell 100,000 copies. Like you literally just put that piece of authority in the front, and then people have the frame, as in they know why to listen to you. So this is like a really easy switch that you can make in any piece of content to actually ensure that it gets paid attention to, right? And that's really like how people can focus on growing their audience. Now, if you don't want to do that though, and you maybe find it a little, maybe douchey to kind of come across like that. This is something that I find more common on British people like me. Okay. They don't want to do that. Well, instead, you just have to show like outstanding evidence. And so one of the easiest ways to do that is take all of the experience that you've had and like condense it into a video series where essentially you show yourself doing something over a period of days to prove a point that you can do it. So like, for example, I have a client right now. She is insane. She has a business that has more than 300 employees and she does more than 22 million a year. Like she's super cool, all offline. And so me being the marketer that I am, right? Like I'm like, okay, cool. Like let's shout out about how you've, scaled your business to 22 million a year. She's like, yeah, Lauren, but it just comes across as kind of braggy. So I'm like, okay, back to the drawing board here. And then I basically was like, all right. And she's also saying, she doesn't think that it's realistic to tell other people that she does 22 mil a year, when basically she really wants to help people show that they can get to like $1 million per year business. So it's like, okay, let's show that you can get your brand new business from scratch with less than $1,000 to 10K per month in less than 30 days.
Yep.
And so now she's doing like a day by day documentation of herself showing everything that she does to get it to 10K a month in less than 30 days. And if she doesn't get it to 10K per month in 30 days, she'll give away 10K, right? Because we had to increase the stakes. So my point is basically we took something that's really simple for her, but we turned it into like a high stakes situation whereby she'll document what she does every day to prove with like clear evidence that she actually knows what she's talking about. Because the whole point of what I'm trying to say here is like, oftentimes the value that you have to share is simply just not taken seriously by other people because they don't know why to trust you. So you either have to tell them what you've done or simply just prove it through your actions.
And that's like one of the storytelling frameworks, like show, don't tell, right? It's like, let me actually prove it by showing you the steps and the proof that I can do it.
Well, both of them, interestingly enough, really do work with organic social. Because here's the thing, like I looked at Hormozi's most popular 20 videos, right? And like in the beginning of all of them, for the first couple of years, he says, that, my name's Alex Hormozy and I have a portfolio of companies that does more than $100 million a year. Like, he literally says it in the beginning of every single video, right? Why? Because he's going to give some advice and no one's going to listen to him if he doesn't have like clear evidence as to why they should listen to him. So for example, like with you, what I think is really cool is like when I see you do these breakdowns of how you're selling so many books with your ad strategies, like I actually really read those posts because I'm like, oh wow, Chris really knows what he's talking about when it comes to selling books. So I find it very, very interesting. And you start it by showing the evidence like immediately, and then you get super tactical on the info. But if you didn't share the evidence and you started saying like, here's how to sell your book, like I'm just probably not going to listen to you, because I just wonder like what sets you apart from the other people who are sharing that info. So that's like the first thing, right? And then the other thing that I think that people make the mistake is like they just simply don't make offers that are direct enough. And they basically mask their offer in a bunch of like weird language and overcomplication. Instead, if they just put like a direct offer out, which gets people who have intent to work with them to raise their hand, then instead of having this massive DM convo back and forth, just grab the phone number, jump on a call. It just like drives way more sales. Like, so I have this one client who he basically thought that he should focus on like building his audience for 6 months and then launch his podcast and then do a YouTube strategy. I'm like, dude, just post this on your story right now. And he made 18K within 24 hours, right? Cash collected. And the story literally just said, he's basically helps people become like remote closers. It was like, freedom closers on average make 8 to 10K a month. Want to turn your skill of sales into a remote income, reply with the word freedom and let's chat to see if it's fit. And that was it. Like that was literally the entire post. And then he got like 12 people reply. And then he jumped on a call with the 3 that he closed. And I think people just overcomplicate it so much. It's just like, how can you make your copy as simple and easy to understand as possible? So it all comes down to your messaging. Like your messaging has to be absolutely clear, which somehow people get so involved in their own sort of knowledge that I think they struggle to dumb it down in a way whereby prospects will understand it.
Why do you think that happens? Like, do you think it's just traditional knowledge and things being shared, or misconceptions around like how I do grow a business is just like old school and slow, and like, hey, you need to do this for 6 months to actually get an audience before you can make an offer? And like, why do people like sit on that kind of stuff for so long?
So I was recently bringing on a new closer on my team, right? And so the script that I had been using for a really long time, somehow like it wasn't working for him, right? And it was really interesting because I had other people use it and it worked for them. And so it didn't make any sense, honestly. It actually made no sense to me at all. But what I realized after analyzing the calls was that the people that had used the script before versus him, they had gained like little pieces of knowledge that they could use to plug holes that were actually in the script, right? So we had to obviously improve the script and everything. And then what we realized is like by doing that, the script became way too long. And so I went back in and I tried to redo the script, okay? And like I just couldn't get it to the point where it hit. And so then I had that same client of mine, actually, I had him come in, look at the script because he's obviously all day doing sales, right? And I had him look at the script and he was like, Lauren, this is just too complicated. And I was like, oh my God, I'm having the same problem as my clients right now. I'm too in this thing and I know how it works too like intricately that I can't actually dumb it down to where it needs to be for somebody else to be able to do this too. And I really think that's just it. I think it's like the expert curse, right? Where you're so good at what you do that you can't replace yourself in it. And I think that's the same thing on social media. And so I think that's where sometimes you just have to zoom out, look at what potential clients are saying to you, and then literally make that your short list of what you pull content from. It's one of my favorite strategies, like literally document all the problems on sales calls they tell you that they have, all the goals that they tell you that they have, and then highlight in yellow what the people who paid you money told you. And then that is your list of content. That's it. And it actually really simplifies your social media strategy and content in general.
Cool. Okay. I was on one of these famous sales calls with your business partner a little while ago, and it was a $100 non-refundable, or sorry, a refundable sales call. But I just remember because I literally had went through Jeremy Miner's 7th level sales training just before, and he teaches something called NEPQ. And I just remember, like, because it was so fresh, being on that call, I was like making notes of what she was saying because I was like, man, she's doing this so well. So obviously, you guys know how to sell your own stuff and you're so in depth with it. But I remember that that's probably my fondest sales call just from an experience perspective, just because it was done so well.
That's awesome. Yeah. Jeremy was actually my client in 2020. Um, and like this was before he had social media. Like I literally made his Instagram account and his LinkedIn profile. Like I remember just like optimizing that thing. And it was so crazy now because obviously he crushes social. Like I am not responsible for that, but I'm very proud of like the huge social audience that he's been able to build. Like that guy's a beast. Never like crazy, amazing guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually quite lucky because my mentor runs all of his ads and they spend, and from the beginning as well, from like when they were doing like 30 grand a month. So they're in the multi-millions per month now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they spend at least $1 million per month on ads just from a lead gen perspective. So
Yeah.
I do get some backdoor insights here and there, which is pretty cool.
That's good. Well, but those insights are like the thing I think that changes the game, to be honest. Because when you see so much like data across different like client accounts or friends who have like inside info, it can honestly really like help shift the way that you scale client accounts and also your own like work. So actually, I think being like in the know like that is one of the more underrated things that like other people don't talk about like in the industry, to be honest. And I wish that I had known that sooner because there are certain decisions where like I think I'm making a really smart move like just based on like my own knowledge or whatever, but then you speak to someone who's just, yeah, as you say, like spending tons on ads, or who every webinar they do they get like 20,000 people signing up. It's just this level of insight that you could never have purely from your own account, honestly. I actually get a lot of the things that I personally do from like what I see across my clients as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that access is actually commonly easier to get than most people think. They're like, oh, this person's on a pedestal. And like, sure, there's people on a pedestal like Hormozy and Gary Vee and stuff. You can't buy an hour of their time. But like, as an example, surprisingly, it was relatively cheap to like get mentorship from my mentor he probably manages more than 10 million a month in ads. And so like my shortcut to success with Smart Author Media 2.5 years ago when we started, it was I just had a killer mentor. I didn't even know how to run ads properly when I started this agency. But we figured it out and learned it and like created systems around it to now like we can easily launch a campaign and it's not a stress anymore. But definitely the shortcut is like who has it's the whole who, not how, right? Like who has the resources to teach you the how if you need to know that, and how can you replicate that success?
So true. Yeah, it's really interesting as well because like there are people who, for example, I used to listen to their podcast like 5 years ago or something, right? Like I'd listen to like every single podcast and like in your mind, you're like glorifying them as some like big famous person, but you're so right. Like they're so easily accessible. And I think when you get really, really good at like one thing specifically, I don't know if you've seen this shift in the industry too as well. Like I feel like about 4 years ago, it used to be like a lot more broad, sort of like general business consulting, etc., strategy. And now I feel like where you really win is where you really like master in sort of one specific thing. Like we were just talking about, you, for example, with books, me with content, social. And what's cool is what like those people now reach out to me for help. And I'm like, what? This is like the craziest thing ever, And so it's like, I still think these things constantly all the time because I'm like, these people who literally helped me like get my business up and running and now wanting to like be my client, I'm like, is this real? Like, it's just so crazy to me. But yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about sort of like mastering your craft on that lens. And definitely like if I could go back, I wish I had just like doubled down on that one thing like way earlier on, because it's always been, my strong suit. It's just like I kind of packaged it up behind all the other stuff, which I thought I had to say that I was like really good at, even though it's just like, scope creep, to be honest.
Yeah, and I guess it's that like facade and realizing what the pains are over times. Like you said, with people who pay you money, it's like, do they actually care about this or that? And it's like, likely not. They probably just want to come to you for this one strategy to get this outcome, right? And I'm sure there's tons of different little plays, and like you having a lens on someone's social organic and going like, hey, to get a quick win, here's what you can do, but like this is the overarching strategy, and if you just
Totally.
follow it, you're going to have long-term success. And the same is true for us. It's like we know, like when we take a book to market, it's like these are the steps that we take to achieve success, and it's like you don't really need to deviate and sell like this other bestseller campaign or other things that people think that are important when it comes to book success. You can just go in and go, cool, we'll just run an ads campaign to a funnel that self-liquidates and then upsell on the back end. Like that's literally all we sell, and it's not complicated, generally speaking.
Oh, I'm fully converted. Like the low ticket funnel, like self-liquidate. Oh my God, this is like the best thing ever. I swear.
Yeah.
So obviously the organic, okay, this is just normal for me. But this low ticket funnel is so cool because it's just so scalable, right? Like you can simply just spend more money. Like I was so nervous in the beginning. I was like, well, what if we spend more and then we start getting refunds on the 997 upsell? But it hasn't happened. Like I'm waking up every day and we're selling those. And I'm like, what? This is so crazy. It's really cool. So I think that's actually going to be like next year. I think a lot more people are going to get clued onto that, because I feel like lately it was all about like running ads to an application. But that just doesn't, like, for at least me, right? Maybe I'm just doing it wrong, but it's just not as good quality leads as the people that buy the self-liquidating offer. That one is so good.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think this is going to be killer, especially for you. You're prepping a book for Jan, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's a few thoughts here, but I think self-liquidating funnels, low ticket stuff in general is good. But I really, obviously I'm biased, but I really like the book side because typically book buyers are a much smaller percentage, high quality people who want, to self-develop, who are willing to take action, and people who read books. There's like literally 4% of people in the world who read books in general. And usually those people are like people who want to do things and become like non-fiction books. So having that on the front end and then still being able to like liquidate on like the 997s and the other things that you have in the funnel, it just like adds fuel to the fire. Like you get a better quality person in right away because it's more of a, I wouldn't say harder asset to consume, but it certainly can be. And so it actually increases the quality because only higher quality people will buy those things knowing that they want to get the value out of that. So yeah, I think 2025 and onwards, like books as an SLO, like we're starting to see it heaps now. And even, do you know Tanner? I don't know his last name, but he's like he's a social guy and he's quite big, muscular. He's like literally documenting all these tests he's doing on his socials right now, and he's like, we ran ads to a $9 thing to then upsell into a group to then do this and then that and so on. And he said that he's done multiple variations, and now what he's finding success in is like book on the front end, then a 997, then a community offer afterwards, and so on. And he said that like that's by far been the most successful. And now, of course, I'm getting all of his ads on social, and then I clicked on one, so I'm getting more again. But it's just interesting to see like someone like that he's made tens of millions with his info stuff. He's like circling back to books again. So yeah, I think you're going to do excellent with books.
Yeah, I'm excited. What I want to do as the order bump is the AI like helper. So
cool.
On the checkout page for the book, I want to basically attach that. And it's interesting because I feel like the take rate on that will be, well, I mean, obviously it depends on the price and everything, but like we have one funnel right now where we're running a $27 and then there's a $47 order bump, and we're getting a 72% uptake rate on that.
Wow.
And we're not just selling like one or two of these every day. We're probably selling like, I think it's around 15 to 18 a day on this current ad spend. I'd have to check how much it is exactly. It's so
That's great.
high. And this is like unheard of to me. So basically we just increased the price and we increased it to 97. And what we noticed is that like I checked today and I haven't even seen a single order bump sale. That's so
Yep.
crazy, isn't it? Like not one. So I'm like, okay, we just need to go back to this sweet spot pricing because that was like crazy, but that's insane to me. But yeah, like the scientific testing is like really fun. But my point is I want to test that AI sort of helper with the book because I feel like
Yep.
that's actually people are going to feel like they get to know you, right? Like you can train it on how to speak like you, because I've already done that, like on all the social media copy and everything. And then I feel like you can train it to also like make the person offers through the AI chatbot with the book. That's what I
Okay.
want to do. That's going to be so cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. So what's your $47 bump? What's the content in there?
Well, we're price testing that, right? So the sweet spot though is $47. It's a wait, you bought the low ticket yesterday. You didn't take you saw the $97 order bump, you didn't take it. It was too high, right?
I got the doc from Black Friday, the free. I saw that. I didn't see any offers yet.
Okay, okay. You didn't take the order bump. It was too
I
high.
didn't go through the
That
funnel yet, did I?
okay. Well, it's interesting though because before I'm telling you, it was 72%. It's a replay of a webinar. And you
Oh,
know the
cool.
craziest thing? A workshop. It was a paid workshop that was $97. And I think the reason why I need to check the
Ah,
copy, but I think the reason why is because they got it on sale, like basically half price. And so
yep.
the craziest thing though about that workshop is like that workshop, I want to sell it for like $1 or even for free. But it's better if it's like $1 because people will then consume it, or like $7 because it is the best sales asset that I've ever produced. I'm
Cool.
not joking. Like it produces such qualified leads and such high intent. So now basically we want to get as much consumption as possible on that thing. So like what I've also noticed though that I'm trying to do more often is when I have something really good, just get more people to consume it. Like how can I increase consumption? And so
Yep.
we're just gonna rip that out and start launching it as ads and organic, put it everywhere
Yep.
because honestly it's producing just such good leads. So
And
it's
they're
pretty cool
application
when you
leads,
get
are
that.
they?
Huh?
Are they application leads?
Yeah,
Like they're
yeah, yeah,
booking a
yeah. They
call?
go, yeah, they book a call and
Yep.
mini application. Yeah, like,
Yep.
but in the video itself, I basically break down the offer, but I do it in a way where I don't make them an offer.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so I do like an anti-offer, and then
Yep.
and then they feel relaxed, and it's been really cool. Like I have to say, I was just selling this like 4 hour workshop. And at first I wasn't going to pitch at all. And then I just added this like anti-pitch inside just because I thought, well, so many people had bought it initially when I did it live the first time. We actually, we sold 150 paid tickets for that, right? Which was really sick because that was all organic, fully all organic within, I think we did it in 6 or 7 days, which was
Nice.
really, really cool. I thought, okay, let's shoot my shot. And to be honest, like, this is what converted me to believe in the self-liquidating funnel because I thought, well, if this has been this good for organic people, there's no
Yep.
reason this is not going to work on paid. And so
Yep.
then I was just shifted all my funnels to that I'm running ads for. I shifted it all from not being a freebie opt-in or a direct offer, but shifted it all to a low ticket funnel and upsells.
Cool. Okay. So to your point, I agree. Consumption equals the more someone consumes something, the more money they'll pay you. So what have you thought? Like, is your book a breakdown of like a course or a program that you guys teach? Is it just like methodologies from inside there? And a second question: have you thought about how you're going to increase consumption of that content to create clients? Because what I've seen is when people buy a book, if there's an audiobook option, obviously more consumption. If there's a course version of the book, like Ryan Dice is having good success with this, with the book funnel that we built him. He created a course version of his book as well. And that obviously creates more buy-in to the system, and then they want to work with you to get it done for them or done with them.
Yeah, I have put zero thought to this. All I want, and
Okay.
the only reason I wanted to do it is because I want the AI book conversation with basically I have this plan with that. I know that that's going to be really key for getting really good leads. I have no plan for anything else, zero plan. I'm going into it with an open mind, and basically my goal is to get clear on that over the Christmas week.
Nice. Well, if you need to bounce any ideas after Christmas, just let me know. I'm here for you.
Well, actually, a good question then. My goal with the AI chat thing, if you think about me, what book do you think I should write?
It has to be a social selling system.
But don't you think that that's potentially too sort of, it's too tactical, no?
Well, I think so. The way I like to write books is problem solution. Like, what's the number one problem? How do we provide a solution for it? And
Right.
doing so with your own methodologies. And so if you just think of it like that, they typically go through it and they'll get an aha out of it and go, cool, that seems overwhelming from a tactical perspective. How do I work with Lauren to get it implemented?
Right. Because the thing that I really haven't given it any thought. And as I think about it now, though, like the thing that comes to my mind is I feel like it should be potentially on like personal branding. It's more vague. Isn't that good? Or should it be really tactical?
I think it comes down to what you want out of the book. Do you want it to be a brand builder for yourself? Then sure, personal branding could be a good avenue, but you might not actually get good conversion on the back. Whereas if it's tactical, it's like, cool, here's the system that we use to sell a boatload of programs and assets and whatnot through organic social. Then it's like, okay, cool, I want that system. And that's like when someone thinks of Lauren Tickner, like, sure, Lauren's got a good brand, but Lauren knows how to sell stuff with organic socials,
Right.
And so they probably want that system.
Yeah, so essentially the timeless concept behind that, I think, is key. Because if it's like so tactical, you don't
want it to be too tactical, for sure. But I will say as well, it doesn't have to be the book. You can write another book in 6 months about personal branding. You can write another book that's like, more strategic again. I'm just a big fan of books. Like, I prefer shorter books today, like 100 pages or less, to be honest. And it's just like hyper focus. Like, what's the problem that market's facing? How do we provide a solution using your methodologies and lead them to a natural next steps, which is how do I work with them to get it implemented?
100%. Yeah, well, I think that's also cool because you can just whip up tons of books and then launch them, and test what do people even want.
You can split test the book itself,
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about. I was actually thinking about this. I was thinking about writing 5 mini books like what you just spoke about then, and then running them all and then seeing which one wins and then just basically doubling down on building out that funnel. That's like actually the thought that I had. Like, if I think about anything that I'd actually thought about, that was it.
That's honestly, you hit the nail on the head. That's how I would do it. And furthermore, it's worth even testing, like, same book, different title, same book, different cover, and like, even playing with covers, because from a marketing and testing perspective, like, you might think you have the right book, but it might not sell as well as you think. A small tweak to the headline or the title of the book would actually potentially increase conversions by a few points, and that could make a huge difference when you're driving $20,000 worth of ad spend to a funnel.
Yeah, I love this stuff. It's actually super fun.
So, I've got one more question before we wrap.
Let's do it.
With your book, what's your strategy for marketing it? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I will run paid traffic to it for sure. And also organic, but I think I'll launch it on paid ads first. My strategy would be so I told you, like, I'm going to write a book, but I genuinely haven't given it a lot of thought, because my plan is to actually like build a little community, right? Like, we all do it together and kind of, go through the same pains. That's why I haven't thought about it yet. And I also find sometimes if you like think about wanting to do something and then shut it off, then your subconscious mind like starts to think through it really nicely. And so interestingly enough, like, maybe this is why somehow we get on this podcast right now, my brain now starts to think. I don't know, who knows? Really though, my thought process would be take a budget. I was thinking like 1 or 2K, and actually grab like a mini landing page to get people to opt in on some random different topics. And then I can just, pass them into some like mini PDF that I just whip up. I'll spend like a day or two doing that. And then based upon the performance of that, I was going to do the identification of the topic, right? So I was going to like basically document what I was doing and then turn it into a YouTube video, like something like I wrote a best-selling book in 30 days and here's what I learned, something random like that. I'll make myself a challenge for it because like I really need a challenge to do this because it's just personally, I have to say it hasn't been something that like I've really cared about doing. So I need to like turn it into content somehow, right? And then what I was going to do once I spend the money on the ads, get the leads, figure out which couple topics are like the best winners. Then I was going to actually like take that as a thing that I, build it all out. Because for me, it's really like going to be a messaging play because there's so many different ways to say the same thing. Okay. And I think that like, I don't want to go down the wrong direction just because of like my clients tell me this one thing, because I know that people that buy like on a low ticket type of book type of thing, they use different messaging. And so that's essentially why I was going to go with like more of a scientific approach. And I also think it's more fun that way. Plus I can generate some leads in the process. So that was going to be my strategy when it comes to figuring out the topic. And then the writing, yeah, like as you say, I was going to use it more of like a marketing asset rather than like a big book, because I think that, to be honest, I'm not really in a season of my life where I care to, do my legacy book or whatever. For me, it would be more of like a business builder rather than a, legacy asset, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Do you like my plan?
That makes sense.
Is it good?
I think that's good. I think you should, especially once you've gone through that video series, I think you should, once you've written the book, launch it organically, because you'll probably generate 40 grand or more in revenue with upsells. And then that way, that's like free money to test the cold advertising.
I think more. I bet more, to be honest. Like genuinely, after seeing this workshop thing, like I'm genuinely shocked by this because I wasn't doing any low ticket, right? I just wasn't. I candidly, like since maybe I'd done like one or two small low ticket drops, over the last 5 years. I just hadn't done it. Like now I'm genuinely shocked by the opportunity there. I think it's just like people who otherwise are immune to a free thing. Like they buy the low ticket. It's crazy. But yeah, like to your point on the organic side, okay, what about, those people who like say pay 50K to get to be a Wall Street Journal bestseller? What do you think about that?
Vanity. I think it's worthwhile if you want to. You've already shared some of the stages, but if you want to like become more of an official speaker, have command higher speaking fees, things like that, and get more publicity, potentially worth it. But they basically play the same game as Amazon bestseller, but on a grander scale. Because like with Amazon bestseller, you just get 25 or 30 friends to buy your book and you're an Amazon bestseller.
Wait, that's it? That's all it takes?
It's not even much. Yeah,
that's
in like
it?
a 24-hour period.
What? Wait,
so all the Amazon bestsellers are like...
Oh my God, you're kidding me. But that's
we all
actually
know
so
the dirty secrets.
Though. Yeah.
With the big bestseller lists, it's like 20,000. And so they basically... Well, some of them are editorial. So like New York, I think it's New York Times or USA Today's editorial. So they actually have to select the bestseller. But with some of the other ones, you basically just need vast volume within a period of time. And the guys who charge like 100 grand to get on bestsellers like that, they basically just have their own list of people that they put the book out to. And it's like, cool, go buy the book within this time period so that we can help our client become bestseller. And then they typically take bonuses on top of the whatever amount. It's usually like 60 to 100 grand. They take a bonus on you actually hitting the bestseller lists, and then it's an additional like 40% on top of that. So
that's crazy good business. I swear.
It's a very good business. It's like quite intense and stressful, but I've got a handful of friends who all do it. Yeah.
Wow. That's so interesting. I didn't realize that you had to get so few sales to get like an Amazon like best-selling book. That's actually insane. Like that's crazy that it's that little.
you could become a bestseller very easily in
Yeah,
like
crazy.
all the categories that you wanted to.
Wild. And so then on like New York Times bestseller and stuff. Okay. Yeah, I mean, in the past I thought that I did care about that stuff like 3 years ago. I don't really care about it now. I feel like that kind of image stuff, I just got over it. Like I just don't care now. Let's just get some clients through the book. It's more
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, so you just do an Amazon campaign. You can still say bestseller, and it won't cost you 100 grand, so you'll be fine. So,
Best-selling author, 20 people bought my book.
yeah, yeah. So the standard's funny, right? Like, I haven't got bestseller. Like, that's more interesting. Like, you guys don't have 20
How can you
friends
not
to, you know.
how can you actually not get a best-selling Amazon? Like that seems like that's wow, yeah. Okay.
I've just
It's kind
changed
of
your
like, the podcast
worldview.
charts. Yeah,
Yeah,
like the podcast charts, right? Like where when you launch your podcast, if you get like some small amount of new subscribers on your first day, you go to number one.
yeah.
It's the same thing.
Same thing. Hmm.
Wow. Well, thanks for educating me on that. Very
You're
interesting.
most welcome. Well, I think you've got a good plan. I honestly launch it organically, get a butt ton of money in, and then you can just like fund your ads for free. And even if it
Mm,
doesn't SLO within the first like 2-3 months, you won't be out of pocket.
yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, because I
Because
guess like SLO on a book is that's actually pretty tough. Like it's cool that you guys can do that because, well, I guess with the upsells and everything, it makes
it's the
sense because
upsells.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's on the upsells. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because like our current low ticket, like we have many different variations of the low ticket funnel running, but right now we're getting a 1.6x, which is really cool.
Nice.
Like
Yep.
not including like the high ticket backend, but
Yep.
I'm still, I'm not so nervous, but like I'm still a little bit nervous to like increase the spend because I just worry about those 997 refunds. That's the only thing.
Mm. Mm.
I just need to get over it,
Well,
I guess.
yeah, I think it's worth worrying about. I think what is going to be the difference is once you've run that long enough, you're going to start to see what the LTV is of someone who comes through when
Yeah.
they start to convert on the back end, and then as long as those numbers line up, then it's not so much of a big deal. Without that first like clarity coming through, then it's potentially a concern.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good point actually. I should look at the number, not just the ROAS on the including basically the whole funnel, but also I should look at it including the people that have already upgraded directly from that funnel because there has been definitely a few in the last 2 months. And like
nice.
we're selling a high ticket, so that's a good point. Yeah. Because then I shouldn't be worried about the refunds because I should attribute that money still to that funnel. And then I could probably like I could honestly probably like 5x my spend without being so concerned. Ah, let me look at that. I'll let you know. Good point.
Cool. Let me know. Just prepare if you're gonna like 5x spend. Just prepare like a lot of creatives for the ads. Just
Oh yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
front
yeah.
of that because yeah, you'll churn a lot of ads.
I know, yeah. It's actually become part of like my weekly, thing now
Cool.
to film the ads. It's just like kind of a new thing for me. Like I just was never really until I had this way of doing ads, I was not feeling the success of the ads,
Yeah.
right? Like it's super interesting, like of a mindset shift for me because someone who, is very good at organic, I can put out the post and I feel the, results, right? Whereas on the ads, it was never, it's like I would get a ton of applications and I just wasn't happy of the quality. And I know that's like the
Mm.
messaging issue in the copy, blah, blah, whatever. But here it's so cool because like you can literally, like I literally see the Slack notifications come through and, and I just look at it and I'm like, okay, cool. And like you then see the people, get into the membership and it's like, okay, they're actually there, right? It
Yeah.
just somehow feels like more tangible. And I really
Tangible.
like this
Yeah.
way of doing it. Like I think, yeah, you're doing a good strategy. Like it's very cool. I honestly wish that I'd done it sooner myself. So hey ho, never mind.
Well, I think yeah, the book's going to be pretty cool for you, and I'm
Mm,
excited to see how it compares to like just the standard SLO that you're running now.
true.
But it's going to be good fun, just generally speaking. So I wish
Yeah.
you luck
Well,
anyway. And
yeah. Sorry.
oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, I was gonna say like it all works together. That's the thing. I think that like it's the days of just the add to the webinar or whatever, it's over. It
Yep.
is over. And it just feeds into each other, right? Like if I go into my CRM and I look at some of the clients, like whenever a new client comes in, I have someone from my team, they go in and they look at the journey. It is literally different every time. Every time. And some of them, we don't even have the full journey because they've started on LinkedIn or whatever platform. And so I just think like these different assets, they all have their place. And so nowadays I'm so much more open to different potentialities than I used to be. I used to be so like, this is the way. It's kind of like, I just think about my former self in my fitness days where I was like doing fitness training, right? And like, I was so fixed on my way of doing it. And now I'm just super chill. Like everything can work and it all works for different people. But it's like, it's the way that you string it all together. Like that's the key. It's the strategy, right? Like that's the important piece, which I think is where many people go wrong. Because yeah, like as you were talking about earlier, like people have, I think we were speaking about this before we filmed it, but people have so many assets that are really good that they're not leveraging. Right. And it's like those underutilized assets can be massive cash generators for your business, but people just don't use them. Right. And it's such a shame because it just can make things way easier when you piece things together in a creative way. And so, yeah, thanks for making me think about the book as well. Like, I think it's easier to overthink something like a book. The fact that you say like 100 pages is a good one, that's very interesting. Very
Mike
interesting.
Capuzzi has a book called The 100-Page Book. Check it out. Should help
That's so
simplify
meta.
things. Yeah, it's very meta, and he helps people write the 100-page books. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I think you'll be able to put it together pretty easily once you've got an idea of the structure.
Yeah, I think I can. I think I can even do it in one day.
I think you probably could, 100%. I think you could actually transcribe some of your stuff that you have existing, just edit that down. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it depends. Like if you go more tactical with things, and it's like, hey,
Right.
this is exactly the strategies that we use, then yeah, you could probably talk it out. Like 100 pages is an hour and a half read, maybe. So it's like if you had a structure of what the book should be, and then you like even talk it out, or you grab trainings here and there and transcribe that stuff, and you'll be
Hmm.
able to build out the meat of the book quite easily.
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a workshop, like one of these workshops that I'm talking about here. And I'm literally gonna, because I kind of already did it, but in more detail, I'm gonna break down exactly what we do with our clients, like exactly. And then that I'll put it in the speaker notes, right? And that's the book.
So, okay, it's funny you say this, and sorry if we're going a little bit over on time here, but
It's good.
Taki Moore actually did this for his book, and he made, I think it was 150 grand on his
Cool.
workshops. He sold the
Yeah.
workshop spots, and then he used those workshops to write his book. So I actually did an episode with him and we spoke about this
Oh,
on the Smart Author podcast. But yeah,
got
if
it.
you could sell those like seats to the workshop, have attendees, make it like engageable and still teach the same
Yeah.
strategies. And yeah, you'll probably make some money on the book before you even write the thing.
Okay, I have actually a call with Kira Marie tomorrow, so I'll also ask her about this, like his
Yeah.
wife, right? Like I'll listen to the podcast as well. That's really cool. Yeah. Okay, interesting. That's smart. I mean, honestly, like doing live stuff with prospects is like the best thing ever because you just get every question. And
Yep.
that's why like whenever I used to launch like a coaching program or something, I would always deliver it live before I created the training materials and the PDFs and all of that stuff because you find out exactly what they need. So,
Yep.
yeah, I think I can turn it into something fun. It needs to be fun, I think. Otherwise, I just won't
Hmm.
do it, honestly. I just know myself well enough. Like, I can either do it really fast and really quickly, like in one day and just push it out. But I think if I leverage it into a webinar and I see it driving sales, then it's just another way, it's just another format, isn't it? Really? I mean, a book.
100%. Well, I'll send you the link to the episode together with Taki, and I'll link it in the description below.
Cool.
Lauren, where can people go and check you out and connect?
Just any social, Lauren Tickner, and probably the book will be coming at some point soon. So when it
Cool.
comes, I'll let you know. But yeah, I'm available on all socials. For me personally, the one I like the most is Facebook, but
Yeah.
that makes me sound like a boomer. So like, I don't usually say that, but I actually love Facebook the most. And do you know why? I think it's because all the marketers are on Facebook, and they're
Mhm.
on Facebook in between going on their like business manager, right? And so this is why I think that like I actually personally have the most like convos on Facebook, and I've noticed that about other people in our industry. Do you find that as well? Like I noticed they are
Yeah.
actually active on Facebook, not the other platforms.
Yeah. 100%. I pretty much get in touch with any good marketer that I know, like Onyx Singo and like all the people just on Facebook, and they all are up for conversation. Yeah. So I have the
Yes,
best time on Facebook too.
it's so true. On IG or LinkedIn, it's all their team, whereas on Facebook, it's actually them. I
Yeah.
don't know why that is. Maybe it's because the Facebook account is actually attached to the Meta account, and it's more sort of like, your credit card is attached to your ads account. I think that's why.
I've, I'm not like, I think LinkedIn's good from a business prospecting perspective. I think Facebook is still the platform for conversation in on direct in feed, whereas like DMs and stuff, maybe Instagram, but in the actual feed, I feel like Facebook is the best for facilitating conversations.
Well, real ones. LinkedIn, it's all status. So that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like LinkedIn is crazy for organic reach. I mean, like insanity. Better than anything
Yeah.
else.
Okay.
Yeah. Every week, like for me, it's a bad week if I get less than 1 million impressions on LinkedIn.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. Like it's insane. But it's kind of like for me, I don't know. It's like
It's all a facade kind of thing.
it's good for my clients, yeah, because it's interesting. Like most of my clients are like significantly older than me, right? And so like they love it, and it is kind of more. I don't know. A lot of people that have been in their world of business for a really, really long time, like decades, they are used to LinkedIn. Like it's more comfortable for them, and more marketers that are on Facebook, right? So I think it's just you and I are into marketing, so we like Facebook. Whereas
Yeah.
LinkedIn, it's like if you've been like in a real business, okay, I say that with joke, like taking the piss out of myself, but like if you've been in like insurance or mortgage,
Yeah,
law,
sure.
they love LinkedIn. But yeah, it's a little too formal for me. So, I set it on autopilot, right? Like I play the game on there, there's definitely a game to be played. And so if you want to grow on there, there's pretty much a playbook, and it's not as fun as the other platforms for me. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So everyone connect with Lauren on Facebook, and you won't get her team.
Yeah, and see my like weird random content that just gets consistently viral on LinkedIn. I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Lauren, it's been a pleasure to have you on. I'm excited for your book, and
Yeah,
I'm excited to connect further in the future.
totally. Likewise. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun, and I honestly forgot that we were filming. That's so funny. I
Oh,
literally
yeah.
forgot.
Well, that was probably the fastest hour of my life, and for good reason. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no, this was awesome. Thank you.
Damn, what an awesome episode. If you've got a book that you're advertising or not yet advertising, and you want some book marketing advice directly from me, I'd love to set up a book marketing review with you. It's basically a 30-minute consulting session that you can get for free, worth $1,000, where we can basically dive right into everything that you're currently doing or not doing, and everything that you could do to sell as many books as possible according to your goals. So if you want to sell 100 books a month, 1,000 books a month, or anything in between, we can really help you outline a strategy to help you get there. To book your session with me, just click the link in the description below, smartauthormedia.com/chat, and you'll be able to book a time that suits you to go through everything with me so that we can help you sell some more books starting today. Look forward to speaking to you on the call.